Yes, yes, yes. Make sure I'm not muted. Vader Games in the building. This is episode 3 of Vader Games TV, Citeh Intelligent Agendas, and we got another show for you this week. I'm so amped. I'm so amped. I was so amped. I came through with the intro and I didn't unmute myself. First things first, my peeps come first. If you're coming through new, thank you so much. You know what you have to do. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you know every time that this show goes live. And on top of that, subscribe so you know when other shows happen to go live. And if you're returning, if you've checked me out before, if you've been a part of any of the previous shows, whether it's Vader Games TV, Why Always Me, Vader Games Home and Away, Vader Games Respectfully Disagree, and this show, Citeh Intelligent Agendas, CIA for short. Thanks for coming through. I put up some of the comments before the show even popped off. I have to shout out the people that are in the building before things even get going. And my man, Michael, thank you so very much. Got to point this out. I was very, very happy with that result yesterday. Always tight games against Crystal Palace. Just the odd goal that wins. Don't get upset, Blues. Let's keep doing the business in league. Look after ourselves. That's exactly right. We focus on us. Who cares what our ops are doing? We focus on us. Mike also says, hi, Vader, and all Blues in the chat, 100%. Andrew in the building. Big up, Vader. Hi, citizens. Also goes on to say, yeah, Palace, it's always tough home and away, but I'll take 3 points and move. Yeah, facts. Daniel in the building. Michael also goes on to say, we can't worry about Arsenal. Just concentrate on ourselves and back City all the way, Blues. And if the worst happens and Arsenal win the league, well-deserved, they were the better team over the season. True. It's not a reality I'm ready to accept. None of us are ready to accept. So many games still left to play. 11 games with regards to league play. We're still in Champions League. We're still in FA Cup. A lot of games to be played. And I'm really excited for today's show. This is episode 3 of Citeh Intelligent Agendas. And I'm going to have an excellent panel. I shouldn't even call them panel. I should call them intelligence agents. Excellent group of intelligence agents that are going to be accompanying me throughout this show, and we're going to be speaking a lot. I'm going to bring them both from backstage onto the stage, and we're going to get this popping because, like I said, I do my best to try to keep this show nice and concise. All right, nice and concise. I know how you like the energy and the information to flow. First off, we got my man, True City fan Patrick. You see the man strolling out there, looking all cool with this nice, what is that, a pea coat on? He's got the scarf going. And I got my man Don Smoke in the building. 2 intelligence agents that you're definitely going to want to hear their take on. And I'm not going to waste any time. I know others are going to be joining the show as we go on, but I'm going to be very aware of you guys spending your time and taking your time to check this out. Let me take this one banner off screen real quick. I'm going to take off the how you play matters. All right. But that will be the theme of today's show because how you play does matter. Yes, you heard Michael and you heard Andrew talk about it's the 3 points. We want to get the 3 points. They're absolutely right. We want the 3 points. But it's also important when you recognize that 11 more games just in league play alone are still to be played. It's how we are playing those games. It's how we are playing those games that's important. So let me take this banner off here. How do I do that? There we go. Okay, cool. Noah in the building. Shout out, evening. Thanks for coming through. I'm going to put this on the screen. It happens to be the standings for this year or this season as it stands right now. 27 games played from Arsenal and City. And the reason why I put the standings up when you tune in and you check out CIA, the reason why we do the standings is because we start with the least. Right? We start with the least and we build our way up. And the least right now with regards to threats, right? With regards to City targets that we need to be aware of is Chelsea. Chelsea happened to be ranked 10th in the standings with regards to a threat level. All right? One of the big 6, but they happen to be 10th. And I'm going to talk to it real quick. They happen to have played 26 games, 10 wins, 7 draws, 9 losses, and their goal differential happens to be 1 goal. Ugh, disgusting. And the points for the season so far are 37 points. They haven't hit the 41 points that will make sure that they can't be relegated, but they're at 37 points. I want to talk about Chelsea first and foremost as we kick off this show, and I'm going to quickly click on them and we go into their last match, and then I'm gonna throw this. Feel free to chime in whenever you want. And we got the Professor Gundogan in the building. I'm gonna bring him backstage as well. But we're talking about Chelsea real quick, and I just talked about their standings, but we're gonna start off with their last game played. Their last game played happened to be against Leicester City. They happened to have won that game 3-1. And prior to that, they played in Champions League, which happened to be against Dortmund. And they got a very favorable result with a 2-0 win over Dortmund. I'm going to throw this to you, Patrick. And then I'm going to throw this to Gundo and then Smoke. But last week when you were on the show, Patrick, I happened to say I expect Chelsea, with the quality that they have, to have won that Champions League game. And on top of that, I expected them to win Leicester because 600 plus million, the squad, they have the quality to win. Let me hear your take with regards to, if you happen to have a chance, let me hear your intelligence take on Chelsea and what they did against Dortmund.
Yeah, you'll be lucky if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
No, I hear you loud and clear, man.
Okay, basically, I predicted 2-0 to Chelsea because I just had a feeling that when they're at home, especially with all the players that came back, I knew that this is just luck for Chelsea. Everybody has come back at the same time, and everyone is fit, and those players have nothing to lose. What else do they have to play for? It's only the Champions League. So I knew they were going to make it difficult. They are going to gel. That's what's going to happen. And this is what happens to Chelsea. Whenever the players come back and they gel back, you're just going to see them go on a run, not in the Champions League, but even in the Prem. You see they're going to just win games because Raheem is back, Kante is back, Chilwell is back, James is back. Everybody who's an important piece is back. So it's going to happen. That's why I didn't have hope in Dortmund. I've never rated Dortmund. They always shit the bed. Sorry for saying that. They always shit the bed, though, when it comes to the important part. So big up for your call, and I also called it 2-0, so it looked like it happened.
I remember that. And if you happen to be on the show for the first time, go back to last week's show. That's when we always do a review and prediction show in one. So go back and you can hold us accountable. Go back and check out the show and see what we said with regards to going into this week. But I'm going to throw this over to Gundo. Gundo, I hope you can hear this, but they got the win against Dortmund. They got the win against Leicester. Anything you want to point out from what you're hearing being out in the field with regards to Chelsea and their form, their play? Anything you want to point out?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't impressed with either of the games. I just wasn't. I mean, Leicester are terrible, let's be clear. Leicester are horrible, man. Just terrible. It's the worst Leicester side we've seen in probably ever in the Premier League, apart from the time they were relegated. And then Dortmund, once they lost Marco Reus to injury in the first 7 or 8 minutes, the game was over. There's no outlet. There's no creative outlet. Again, there's nobody's going to get the goal. So it was basically a dead game. I switched to the other game. But am I impressed? No. I mean, do they do what they're supposed to do? Yes. I'm just not impressed. They just look like a team of, expensive.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Gundo. There's nothing really to be impressed with because they beat Leicester, and let's go back to the standings real quick, right? We look at Leicester, and Leicester happened to be they're 16th in the league. Okay, they're 16th in the league, so they beat them, and then we go back to Dortmund Champions League. We recognize the pressure, but then even with some of these fans, and I'm gonna throw this to you, Don Smoke, as well. When you also talk about these fans and they're getting a little giddy, they're getting kind of amped. Chelsea's only beaten Leicester. They now beat Dortmund, and prior to that, they beat Leeds.
I mean, the reality is that they'll get giddy because it's a sugar high, right? When the sugar high goes away, the reality comes back in. Listen, the two things I learned from that game against Dortmund was, number one, Bellingham is not good enough for City. Let's be clear. He ain't the guy.
Okay. That's an agenda for another day, Gundo, but I hear you.
Right. Nothing will convince me ever. He's not good enough for us. And number two, Chelsea are okay. They're okay, but Graham Potter really, he looks like a fish out of water in the Champions League. I'm just not impressed. I'm just not impressed at all. For me, I just wasn't impressed. But we'll see what happens.
They're not playing Carl. They're not playing impressive football. What I hate about Chelsea is this, and what I've seen is they're just in a situation where I've noticed they have nothing completely, and the players that came back, I think there's a bit of pride. Like people like Raheem, you could see how hard they were working. Modric, how hard he's working. It's not even about the team being good. It's just they seem as players because of pride. They just want to do, and it's not because of Porter. I don't even think they want Dortmund because of Porter. I think it's themselves, the players. Obviously, a good team is going to expose them because you, at the end of the day, courage can just get you far. Sometimes you need a good manager behind you, and you need a team as a whole.
The goal that Raheem
scored.
Sorry, one second. No, don't smoke.
Patrick is too kind. I think Patrick should be a pundit one day.
Right? Yes. There's not enough venom. There's not enough venom.
Yeah, he looks for positives even when there's not there. You know, like when you try to turn
like Gomez.
Right. Because I looked at that game, right? That first goal was scrappy. It was a very scrappy goal, right?
Yeah.
That penalty, they shouldn't be in a retake because Chilwell was part of the he started it first. So it's that thing of whereby it was just luck, man. I watched that game. Bellingham had a chance to equalize at 1-1. He basically missed an opponent and he just blasted it wide. Yeah. And I'm so happy because God works in mysterious ways. Just like Gundo said, it was a reminder to people that, you know what? Who's this? Bellingham reminds me of a genie Wijnaldum. He's a runner.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. That's what he is. He's a runner. He can't control a midfield. He's just a runner. That's why he's good for Liverpool, because he'll be there to just get the ball and pass it to the attackers. That's what he's good for.
Again, guys. Again.
Now back to Chelsea.
Thank you.
Right. Back to Chelsea. But there's nothing that has shown me that they are back to anything or whatever run they're gonna go on. The only running they'll be doing is on the pitch, right? Mm-hmm. They're not gonna go on any winning run.
And this is what I want to find.
Everyone beats at the moment. Everyone beats Leicester. Everyone.
Exactly.
They've down tools.
They clearly down tools. They're 16th in the league. They're not really showing any real threat, any real grit.
The owners are not investing in the club. Their FFP is hijacking them, so they can't do anything. The manager is not going to leave his job because he wants the money.
And he's fighting with players, Carl, and he's also fighting with players. He fought with Seyuncu.
The owner won't sell the manager, won't fire the manager because they don't want to pay him cash out, right? Because they have to replace him. So it's a basket case. You know, that guy Wout Fest, whatever his name is, the guy should not be in the championship. He should be in League 2. It's terrible.
Okay.
The goalkeeper is the worst goalkeeper I've seen play football.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
This level of infield intelligence with regards to Leicester, you're not getting anywhere else. This is what you're getting with regards
so the point is that if you're celebrating a 3-1 win against Leicester, who are dreadful, probably the worst. Southampton are better than Leicester. Let's be clear, right? West Ham are better than Leicester, right? Mm-hmm. They're probably the worst team right now in the league. Forest are better than Leicester. What's keeping them out of the number 20 because they started the season somewhat well. You look at the current form; they are bottom of the league. They're terrible.
I'm with you on that one, but I want to direct this a different way, and maybe I'll throw it to Hamza. Hamza, if you're able to speak. Now, Graham Potter, who's been questioned ever since he got there, he's been compared to the previous manager. He's now won a knockout game for Chelsea, right? He's now won a knockout game for Chelsea, and who knows who they're going to be matched up with. What do you think, Hamza, if you were to throw your 2 cents at? Are Chelsea fans going to now show some patience now that he's kind of proven himself at the Champions League level to be able to maybe manage this team? Are you getting any sense of that, Hamza?
Big up to everyone, man. Big up to Veta. Everyone subscribe to the channel. Veta, you were cracking up with that last point. What was the question? Sorry.
My question was, based off of Potter Oh yeah, I think it's my internet's looking for an update. But based off of Potter getting this knockout game result, right? He was at knockout. He was able to deliver with the win. He's been questioned from the very beginning with regards to this fan base and them questioning whether he can manage the egos and the team and get results. He's now got 3 games on the bounce, and he's also won a Champions League game. Do you think the fan base are going to give him that time to cook and close out this season?
I think there's some people within the fan base. Obviously, at the start of the season, till the Dortmund game, I believe they were all Potter out. Majority of them, the ones I was speaking to, they were saying Potter's not good enough. I want him out. And they said even if he gets to a final, I want him out. But the thing is, what I don't get is when after the Dortmund game, they all switched up. They all tend to, have confidence in the team. They tend to have more confidence in Potter. They were saying if Potter, because some of them were saying, look, whatever lineup Potter does now, I'm gonna trust it. But if you rewind and before the Dortmund game, they were saying no, he needs to get out. Whatever team selection he does is poor. And now that he's on a little run, he's on a 3-game run, they've started to trust him again. Yeah. So it's a bit of a, let's say on Twitter they call it a flip flop, which is a bit, if another like because if like for example, Veta, Twitter as well, right? If we were gonna speak out and flip flop, they're gonna come at us, and Chelsea fans seem to be very very hypocritical about this. They tend to go at other fan bases and say you guys are flip flops, when they're doing the same thing with Potter.
They're doing the exact same thing. I think the winning is buying him time. The winning is going to buy him time, rightfully so. I think they were wrong to really doubt him because who's going to really succeed being thrown in with such a big mix of players as well as coming into the season, not even having a preseason or, being able to work with a squad. But with regards to Chelsea, it's interesting to see. Now, we're going to do our predictions as well. Let me click on them again. We're going to go to see what's up and coming now for them. So Chelsea's next set of matches before the international break is only going to be 1 game, if I understand correctly, and that is going to be next Saturday against Everton. Next Saturday against Everton, and Everton are fighting for their lives as well. Just really quickly, I'm going to go one by one. I'm going to throw this to you real quick, Gundo, and then we'll move. Chelsea versus Everton. They're playing at home. What do you say with regards to them getting a result?
I mean, Everton are dreadful too, right? So Chelsea should get the win, but then we've seen Everton come to the Etihad and park the bus. Depends on what Sean Dyche wants to do. Is he in a position to park the bus and try to get a point? I think he can. Depends on what they do. Does he need 3 points to get out of the relegation zone? It's a question that he needs to decide.
Okay.
That's what it is. I mean, Chelsea should win, but
I'm gonna give you 3. I'm gonna give you 3 options: win, lose, or draw.
Where are they right now in the league? You know where Everton are in the league?
Everton on? Yeah, I can tell you real quick.
They just left the bottom. I think they left
Everton
the bottom
15th,
slightly.
Yeah, he's gonna pop the
They're
bus.
1 point. They're 1 point away from 18th. So
yeah, he's gonna pop.
They have 25 points.
He's gonna pop the bus. So it's gonna be a draw.
Okay, draw. Don Smoke. Chelsea getting the win against Everton next Saturday.
It's a draw. It's a draw every day, man.
It's a draw. Don Smoke says a draw as well. I'm gonna throw this to you, Patrick.
I think it's gonna be a draw. Is it away to Chelsea?
It's at Chelsea, yes.
Yeah, I think Sean Dyche is gonna get a draw, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Everton slapped them.
Oh, okay. I need one answer though.
Do you know why I'm saying this? It's because I think Onana is better than the most of the midfielders, but I see a draw. To be honest, I think Sean Dyche will want a draw.
Okay. And Hamza, what are you saying? Win, lose, or draw?
You know what? I actually see Chelsea winning this game. I think they're going to win it. I think, Everton, they do sit back. I think you guys have made some very good points. But I just think Chelsea will win. I think, with the quality they have, I know they haven't shown it this season, but if you compare the players individually, obviously it's a team game. I understand. But if you compare them individually, Chelsea have got quality players there. And I just think Chelsea will get the job done. I think it'll be a close game, but I think they'll get the job done. I think it'll end up being like a 2-1 or something.
I'm with you. I'm with you with regards to the win. I think Potter's now He's going to have that confidence of winning the Champions League. I think
The
he's going to
momentum,
have a little momentum. There's going to be less of the noise from the fan base with regards to him. And I think he gets another win to go into this international break. And then obviously we can run with our agendas throughout the international break.
Let me share a quote with you, right? This guy, Potter, said that game against Dortmund was the biggest win of his career.
That's fair.
Just think about that for a minute. That's the biggest win of his career.
Mm-hmm.
A win in the round of 16 against Borussia Dortmund.
Oh, don't do that, Gundo. He's got to start somewhere.
No, Vita, I'd like to say this. Right? I think
you want to compete with Klopp, Guardiola?
Okay, sorry. That's what. Yeah,
Oh,
what were you gonna say?
Vita, I think we are at a point of the season whereby momentum doesn't really mean shit, especially when you're playing against teams that are fighting for relegation. Look at Liverpool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slap 7.
We're gonna get to Liverpool. We're gonna get.
I'm trying to give an example to say that
okay.
When teams are fighting for their lives, your momentum means shit. Look at Crystal Palace almost held us to a draw.
True.
Right. Is that thing of whereby, because this is where now you fight for your lives. We're getting into that territory. So we're at a point whereby unless you're playing really, and we've been playing really well, and we've seen Chelsea that when they go up against a low block, their runners aren't effective.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And Sean Dyche is one of the specialists at the low block, whereby he's gonna give you those banks of 4.
I agree with you. He's gonna make life difficult for Potter. For whatever reason.
The only question is, can Chelsea get an early goal? Because the longer this game goes, the more it's gonna be a draw, and spend the risk of a counter attack of a Demarai Gray thunderbolt from outside the penalty box. We've seen it so many times, whereby they'll absorb pressure, and then in the end, when you open up and try to go for it, then they just turn you over on the break. So I won't be surprised if, as Patrick said, if they nick a 1-0 win, but most likely I would say it's a draw.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. And I see everyone in the comments. Andrew goes, hit that like button. Thank you so much. Virtual mentioned, you think the title's over? No, not even close. Virtual, not even close. We've got 11 games to go, a lot to talk about. And I see everyone else in the comments. Thank you so very much.
We haven't started yet.
We barely
started. Hasn't started yet.
You're exactly right.
We need. If we haven't started yet, I think that it needs to hurry up. It really needs to hurry up.
Warming up the engine, got it. It's over. Yeah, the engine's warm. Now we gotta run.
Yeah, we gotta run now.
It hasn't started yet.
But Gundo, do you know what it is? After the Palace game, right? I feel like we're starting now. I feel like, obviously, in terms of goals, I understand we haven't properly started. But in terms of results, I feel like we are starting now.
What I mean by it hasn't started yet is that it starts when we have to play Liverpool, and they have to go to us, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, and City.
We will get there. We will get there. I want to be aware of time.
Find out. So it's okay beating Fulham 3-0, poor Fulham, terrible Fulham 3-0. When you have
awful.
To play
Did you watch the game?
Liverpool,
Awful.
Newcastle, all the way.
We will get there. We will
find
get
out.
there.
Gundo, we're stealing the Professor, we're stealing the show, man. We need to.
I love the panel members. Well, we got to go with the flow. That was the first team and it's not a true 25 minutes, but we're 25 minutes of the show. But I want to be cognizant because, Patrick, you got a show later, no?
No. I paused my show for a while. I'm giving you the spotlight.
Yo, large up, Patrick. Okay, all right. Now,
big up to Patrick.
It took us about 20 minutes to just deal with Chelsea. That's the type of fire we had for Chelsea. Now, I got the standings back on the screen in terms of threats. All right. Citeh Intelligent Agendas. We deal with the standings and we go threat by threat, and we start with the lowest threat, which was Chelsea. They're ranked 10th in the league. And we look at the big six, we look at the top six, however you want to look at it. The next one on that list happens to be Liverpool, and Liverpool happen to be ranked 6th in the league right now. They've played 26 games, 12 wins, 6 draws, 8 losses. When we look at their goal differentials, healthy, 18 goals differential. They've got 42 points in the standings so far. Let me give you real quick, compared to the leaders, which are Arsenal. Arsenal are at 66. Liverpool are at 42. What a fall from grace Liverpool are at. Liverpool competing for the quad last season. They won the FA, they won the Carabao, and they were 2 games short. And they didn't even score goals in the finals that they had with regards to Champions League, and obviously they fell short with regards to League Cup. But Liverpool, 6th in the league. And let's pull up what they happened to do last week. All right. Last week on the 15th of, let me go back. Just yesterday, they played against Bournemouth. We're going to talk about that. They lost 1-0. On Sunday we did talk about it briefly, but we didn't give it its proper cooking, proper assessment or discussion. But they played United just last week, Sunday, and they happened to slap, disrespect, beat up, mug United 7-0. Their last 2 games, 7-0. I want to throw this to you, Don Smoke, with regards to Liverpool. After their performance against United, did you see this result yesterday that happened on Saturday? Did you see this result even possibly being suggested or thought of, losing 1-0 to Bournemouth, bottom of the league?
Did I see it? No, not really. Was I surprised? No. At the end of the day, football is a humbler. Football is not a movie script that people think. That's why, and this should give you more light on the Nottingham Forest draw. When me and Gundo and Martin were coming everyone down, like, my guy, nothing is deserved until you play the game. You need to earn the win on the pitch, right? And you're playing against people who can also play, and they can hurt you as well. Going to Bournemouth and winning is not for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we went there, and the thing is this: because we do something so often, we make it seem as if it is a given. We went there, we slapped them 4-0 at home, and you're like, it's just no. These guys almost beat Arsenal or 2 points of Arsenal, right? And that so anything is possible, man. And at the end of the day, it's just a reminder that in this league, if you get caught slipping, you lose points. You're shooting Buta off point.
But this loss, though, they demolished. They absolutely disrespected. They sunned United 7-0. The worst beat it. Yes.
That was a mugging. You know when they mug you and they take your shoes afterwards, right? So they mug you and they ask for your shoes afterwards, and then now you go home.
So let me give an analogy to explain what's going on. So you know, in Nigeria, whenever you have a fan that your fan is dying, what happens with your fan when it's dying is that it spins up and does really well, blows you nice and cool air, and then it will die. It will like slow down, and then to spin up again, then slow down. Now you know that it's time to get a new fan. That sooner or later, this fan that does well and then drops off, power fluctuates and drops off, is not good enough for the long haul, and it's time for you to make that change and buy a new fan so you can get cool the optimally. That's what's going on. These vicissitudes, this variation in performance, right, is a symptom of the fact that change is needed at Liverpool. Players, maybe manager, maybe ownership, whatever it is, it is the sample that we see, right? But so think about this.
I hear that, but
think about it, right? Real Madrid 2-0 up first half, 5-2.
Yeah.
Then you go to United 7-0. And against Bournemouth 1-0. And they play who next?
They play Real next on the 15th.
Okay. And after that, who they play,
And then it says a postpone. It says postpone against Fulham. What would be the reason?
They're playing we next. First of April.
They play us next. Yes, they do play us next after the international break. Yeah, you're right. See, they played Liverpool last week. Yeah, they played Liverpool last week, Sunday, but then to play on Saturday and have so much rest, right? Liverpool had so much rest between that United game and the Bournemouth game. I think if you go back to last week's show, I said, I predict Liverpool to get this win because of the form that they showed against United and the fact that they had essentially a week off. That performance against Bournemouth is absolutely disgusting and unacceptable. I think is there questions of the manager? Are there questions of the
But
players?
Vita,
Because go
Vita,
ahead.
the reality is it's all about matchups, right? Liverpool have been struggling against low blocks for the longest time, right? The reason why Ten Hag played into Liverpool's hands by giving them space, right? Because they opened up and they tried to go for it. And most of the times when you play an open game against Liverpool, that's what they want. That's where Salah comes to light. All the runners, they come to light. Your Nunes.
Yeah, Ten Hag showed lack of, I guess, awareness of his team.
Now the thing is this, right? Whenever they had a low block, they were most effective when Thiago was playing. Because Thiago could unlock, he had the quality to unlock a defense with a pass or whatnot. Without that, they just static. It's a very predictable game plan that they have, right? And the longer the game went on, the more you knew that this is either going to be a loss, a draw, or a loss. And I'm not surprised. Look at almost every game they've struggled. It's against teams that have set back, right? So I'm not really surprised. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say the fact that you brought up the point with regards to teams that sit back is something that I'm so excited to discuss in the future with you, Gunnigan, and everyone on this panel. Martin, I see that you just joined. Thanks for being on the show. Is that we've been scratching, we've been like growing platinums, we've been stressing over what is Pep thinking. I think Pep the entire time is like, I'm going to devise the plan or the plan B or the plan C to deal with these low blocks. And again, a manager like Klopp and what he happened to face against Bournemouth, I think just exposes that plan B, that plan C, they don't have it figured out, while Pep is dealing with it before it becomes a consistent routine thing. But he showed that the inconsistency game to game is going to be disastrous. And if you can't deal with low blocks as a quote unquote one of the favorite teams, your season's going to be long. Your season's going to be real long. I'm going to put this comment up real quick if there's anything you guys want to add with regards to Liverpool before we move on. FIFA goes, hi, Trouble Father. Oh, he sees Martin in the building. And speaking of this, with regards to Liverpool, before we do properly move on, their next game in Champions League, March 15th, is against Real Madrid, all the way over there. They suffered 5 goals at home. 5-2 is the score, is the aggregate score right now. I'm going to ask you all. I'm going to start with you, Martin, because you just joined. Martin, what's your prediction? What's your prediction for Liverpool and their match in Champions League?
I'm gonna go for 3-1 Madrid on the night.
Okay, 3-1 Madrid. Who scores first?
I think Liverpool will score first because I think they'll come out the traps, but then Madrid will take control of the game.
Okay.
And then Madrid score the next 3.
Madrid scores the next 3. All right. Hamza, what's your thinking with regards to Liverpool? Do they do a miracle like they did against Barcelona? What do you think happens?
I don't think so. I think in that game, I think Liverpool will win they will win the match. I think they'll win 2-1 maybe, possibly, or maybe a 3-2, but it won't get them through. I think they'll win the game, but it won't get them through. They'll
win the game, but not the aggregate. Okay.
That's what I think, yeah.
Okay, Gundo, I got to ask you this. Liverpool, we've been battling them over the years. They were 2 goals away from winning the Champions League last year because they couldn't just score 1. They'd have to score and take the lead. What do you think they do against Real Madrid on the second leg?
Yeah, no chance for them, mate.
Sorry, no chance.
No chance.
No chance.
Sorry, no chance, man. I mean,
okay, do you see
they have to score 4 unreplied goals just to win. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Yeah.
Okay. They're definitely not gonna win the tie. But what about, like Hamza said? Do you see them winning the night?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they can't even beat Bournemouth, man. Come on.
No, but
I mean,
good though.
that's kind of the that's true.
But Champions League nights, obviously it's against Madrid. They lost 5-2, but
Yeah.
Champions League is their competition.
But did you forget Napoli 4-0 in Naples?
Yeah,
that's
true. But I just think Liverpool will win that game.
You forgot
Honestly,
Atletico Madrid, right? At Anfield 3-2. I can give this myth. Right? I can give you many examples, right? There's this whole myth that they've built up around the Champions League and so right? Let's not forget. Last year, how did they get to the final? Villarreal, fucking who was it? Benfica or some shit? Who was it? Villarreal, Benfica, and somebody else, some crazy club, right? That's how they got to the final. Let's be clear, right? And they almost lost to Villarreal, by the way.
Yeah,
almost lost it away. And they were better.
The Villarreal keeper,
they had a clown and keeper.
But they still got to the final. Innit? Fair play to them.
Yeah. Adam.
But I get
Don,
what you're saying.
go ahead, Don. Go ahead, Don.
You know what's funny, right? The thing is, Madrid are street smart. A lot of people forget. These guys are one of the most street smart footballers you're gonna find, right?
Big up to Conte.
These guys know how to win. They know how to win. And the last team you wanna go all out against is Madrid. That's what they want. You're literally playing into their hands. That's what they set up for. Absorb pressure, right? They want you to come out. And the moment you come out, man, they're gonna tear you apart, man. They're gonna make a joke out of you. And these guys have clinical finishers.
Smoke, really?
Right? 6 shots, 5 goals. That's how they operate.
It is going to be great to watch.
And then now, Liverpool have to come out.
Smoke,
they have a good. Go on.
No, sorry, I thought you were finished. So go ahead, finish.
No, I'm saying and they have a good keeper, right? Who can save, who can make saves, and then now when they go, and the thing is, this defense of Liverpool have already conceded 5 against them at the mysterious Anfield of Champions League night.
Yeah. Anfield
against
Fortress.
The kings of the Champions League. Come on.
Yes,
man.
the mentality, but they're mentality monsters, though. Smoke.
Against who? United, Ten Hag's United.
Yeah, we really think that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to keep Vinicius Junior from scoring a goal at Santiago Bernabeu. We think that back line is going to stop Benzema, Rodrigo, Freddy Valverde, Modric. We really think so.
It's a great tie to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Even
I
know
will just wink. Like Ancelotti will just wink, and then it'll all begin. You know that famous wink of Ancelotti's.
The famous wink will be on display. I'm sure there should be like an over and under for how many times the camera is gonna pan on him throughout this second leg. But I want to point this out, and it's a great point that FIFA brings up. He goes, "Do any of you know has Salah declared revenge or anything like that?" Like,
man, this is deja vu. We've been here before, man. We've been here before. I'm sure he's learned.
Yeah, he's probably learned from his mistake and not said anything. Sir Allen goes, knockout team. They're literally, I think they are going to be knocked out. Andrew also goes, who you guys want in the next round? We will not be discussing that right now, but tune in for sure.
I know why he doesn't want it. This is gonna end the whole.
No, we deal with it at the moment.
But there is one good news, right? And the worst team of the whole world are out. Spurs.
Yeah.
So,
Now I want to ask this because as Citeh Intelligence Agents, right? And as we're always in the field, we're always learning, we're always assessing. Myself in particular, I can write off that Real is going to win this tie, but the reason why I love sport, and I think many of us do as well, is because then we also want to look at the mettle, we want to look at the mentality, we want to look at how players fight, teams fight, and I'm going to ask this of you, Martin. Do you expect to see Liverpool show pride? Show conviction to not go out in an embarrassing way to Real Madrid with regards to this Champions League, especially after all of the big talk that they had, putting 7 on United. Do you see them having a proper response and showing that they have this Champions League grit or pedigree with regards to the second leg?
I think Liverpool, like I say, will come out first 20 minutes, and I think they'll have a go because they have to do. They can't go there and sit back. They have to score 4 goals minimum.
Mhm.
So they're 100% going to come and have a go. But because of that, they're going to get caught out all over the place. They can't sit back. They've got to be at it from the get-go because they're so far behind.
Okay, good.
That's
point.
why I think they'll score first, because I think the momentum, they'll carry him, but I think they'll get picked apart at the other end because they'll all go bombing forward because they've no other choice. They put themselves in such a situation where they have to go for it. 4 goals minimum. That is crazy.
The reason why I want to bring this up, and I'm going to remember this when we then get to Tottenham, because Martin brings up the point. He expects Klopp and Liverpool to go fight. They got to go and get those 4 goals. I was baffled. I was confused with what I saw from Conte and Tottenham for their second leg with regards to trying to make it out of there, continue on in the Champions League. Because this fight that Martin's describing and expecting to see from Liverpool, we did not see it from Tottenham. But we'll get into that, and I just want to throw that out there with everyone. I see all of you on the chat right now. Thank you so very much, all of the viewers. Much respect. And again, if you're new, you know what you have to do. I made a rhyme, but I didn't mean to do it on purpose this time. This is what I need you to do. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. If you've been here before, you hit that like button. Again, I'm trying to build this channel. I'm trying to do this weekly review and preview, and we're going to deal with those teams in particular. And this isn't this. Trust me, with regards to the comments, and I know this for a fact, with regards to the comments on the show right now, this isn't dumb, stupid, lazy agendas. Not at all. And I'm not calling out any shows in particular, but we know there's some childish agendas out there. This is Citeh Intelligent Agendas, and this is the conversation that we're going to hopefully have week after week after week, where we talk with a proper perspective. There's time for banter, but there's intelligent banter. There's not lazy, played out, heard this 8 years ago type stuff. This is what we're going to do on this show, and I thank each and every one of you that are on the show right now as we go into the next topic. And I'm going to put a couple comments on screen. Thank you all so very much. Real quick, I go, what we got here? We got Andrew goes, yeah, Pool get beat too clear. Yeah, I think they are going to get beat maybe by 2 goals easily. Sir Allen, my man, goes, breaking news. City agrees with Dortmund, 125 million for Jude Bellingham. I'm going to need you to provide a link. We're obviously with the show right now. We're not going to go investigate any of that. I know, Alan, but I'm just saying again, the Jude talk, guys, Don Smoke, Gundo, the Jude talk will be at a different time. We'll deal with that proper. I think the Jude talk really would be excellent content on Pitch Points. And if you haven't subscribed to Pitch Points, True City Fans, the Mancunian way.
There's nothing for me to say about it. Let's have it here. I've made up my mind. I've tried.
I don't think
no, we can't have it here. No, we can't have it here.
Do on the Martin's channel or True City.
Okay, yeah.
My mind is made up. There's nothing that can convince me. I've tried.
Carl,
well, we got you.
The Jude Bellingham talk is banned for you, Carl. You cannot mention his name. That is it.
We'll get to it.
Banned. You cannot talk about it anymore. That's it.
Alan, Sir Alan, I don't appreciate you pulling the pin and throwing that grenade into the show right now. I'm not gonna put your comment up like that again. But I love all of you always. Now, let me go to this real quick. Oh man, I brought tears. Next up, Newcastle. Oh, yeah. Newcastle in the standings.
Our neighbors.
Hey, our friends. Our friends, our compadres, right? We have much in common, and we see a lot of the obstacles, a lot of the disrespect, a lot of the unwanted energy that we obviously faced being applied to them. So we got a soft spot in our hearts for them. But Newcastle, good season, solid season so far. I'm gonna point out they're now 5th in the standings. They've played 25 games, so they do have games in hand. They have 11 wins, 11 draws, 3 losses, a lot of draws. Their goal differential happens to be 19, 1 game better than Liverpool. They're 44 points in the standings, which is 2 points greater than Liverpool. So if we're going to be real, if we're just going to look at the standings real quick in terms of maybe the cluster of points, we see that Brighton, they've played 24 games, so they have games in hand as well. But Brighton have 39 points. Then you got Liverpool at 42, you got Newcastle at 44, and you got Tottenham at 48. I think that is realistically maybe the group of teams. Brentford's form, Fulham's form has kind of been but I think if we were to maybe think about consistency, we would say Brighton, Liverpool, Newcastle. That's probably going to be an interesting battle. We'll see whether Tottenham fall off. But with regards to Newcastle, real quick, the games that they played last week, it happened to be us, and we are obviously talked about that. But the game that they played today against Wolves, and they got a result 2-1. I think, if I remember correctly, I think Patrick, I think myself, I think we both said that they were going to win this game. Maybe at the very least we said draw, but I'm not expecting any of you to have watched that game. They're not at the threat level yet for us, right? At CIA,
I watched it.
You did watch it. Okay, I'm gonna throw this to you, Gundo. So the 2-1 result,
because they're gonna have an influence on the title race.
Okay, speak on it. So with regards to this game, Wolves, what did you happen to see maybe to bring?
So what I saw from them was that it's the first game they've won in about 41 days since January or late December. They haven't won a game. They've drawn a lot of games, they've lost some games, lost the final, but they fought back today to win 2-1 against the stubborn Wolves. The reason why I say this team is good, we should watch this team and we should encourage them, one, because they're not a threat to us right now directly, but they can help us. What I mean by they can help us, because as Arsenal have to go to Newcastle, right? In the run that Arsenal have with Liverpool, City, they have to go away to St. James's Park, and they're fighting for top 4. They want Champions League, by the way, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that they
do that late, they do that later in May 6th.
The groove of UCL, and the fact that Liverpool lost puts them into the group for UCL, so they're going to be fighting for it. So that game, right, at St. James's Park, Arsenal, is going to be a very, very difficult game. They've only lost one game away at home, which is against Liverpool, 1-0 or 2-0, about maybe a month ago. They didn't lose to us. We scored 3. They scored 3. It's a very difficult ground to go to. So I got my eye on them. We should be best of allies, because it's going to come down to a few games that decides where the title goes, and that's one of them.
I really like that. I like that assessment with regards to the reports. CIA, we have to do things intelligently. And what Gundo brought up is an excellent point. The fact that Newcastle are 5th, right? They have a lot to play for. Would many have said they expected to see Newcastle this high in the standings? Maybe, maybe not. But the fact that they're 5th, they're fighting for 4th. And then at the same time, survival-wise, they're going to also make sure that they don't lose 5th place. So there's a lot to be played for, to Gundo's point. And they're going to be very impactful, having to play Arsenal late in the season, May 6th. And that's a huge game. Any other agent maybe want to chime in with regards to Newcastle?
This is part of the oil partnership, right? The good thing is we've played them twice already. So that means that we don't have to worry about them when they go for that run for that number 4 spot. And what helps them is they had a good start to the season, right? So they could afford to have that scratchy patch, which they just came from having, which is normal, right? You're not going to have a perfect season. So the fact that Arsenal has to go there, and that time they'll be in contention, and they have 2 games on Spurs with 4 points. So they can get that fourth spot. It's very realistic, right? So
no, you're exactly right, because only 4 points separate them.
They had a bit of injuries, right? Maximum is some of their players are back. Gumaresh was also injured and stuff. So when they went through that lean patch, they lost a few key players, which are back now, and you can see they're playing better. So I feel as if they will have a say in the title run, and the fact that, and I think it's more of bragging rights to be a team that stopped the resurgence of Arsenal in order to kickstart their own. In order to kickstart their own, right? So it's a good headline.
And I'm gonna throw this to you, Hamza. Think about it. May 6th, there's a lot of crowning the league champion, type talk and talking points, and now Newcastle are going to want to like stamp their presence and their importance. So May 6th, I see what Smoke is talking about. Newcastle are going to have a huge impact later in the season. What would you say with regards to how muddy they can make the waters for Arsenal if we were to project for May 6th?
I think, from last season we saw Newcastle, crush their hopes into the top four. And I feel like this season, I think, it's a tough one because, Arsenal are doing very well, credit to them. And also Newcastle are doing very well as well because, I believe they've got the best defense in the league. They've conceded the least amount of goals, if I'm correct. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
17 goals conceded, or 18 today. 18.
18. They've conceded the least, haven't they?
Yeah, 18.
Yes, 18. Yeah, goals against they've did the least. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I'm quite confident. I honestly think Newcastle will get a result out of this. I think they will help us out there. It's
Do you know who's second in terms of least goals conceded?
No, I don't know. I haven't checked the table.
The struggling Man City and Arsenal.
Yeah, the out of form, struggling Manchester City. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. 25 goals conceded.
25 goals, and Arsenal are tied.
And apparently we're really bad.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I just think, I think Newcastle will get the job done. I'm going to meet up with the Sheikh the day before, and I'm going to, take him out for a meal, have a little discussion. And, it's good I think, for City fans, for the club, for City, I think it'll be good to build a relationship with Newcastle because, they've got money. The players they will bring, for example, with Bruno Guimaraes, these kind of players, if they develop.
I agree, but I have to cut you off. Sorry, Hamza.
I know you do. It's off the topic, my bad. But you know what?
No,
I hope they beat Arsenal.
No, yeah, large them up, but at the same time, we know that all the clubs within this league are against us. So I hear you with regards to the partnership, but a couple of things need to kind of like settle down because we know that. Yeah. We know the energy is different versus us.
Yeah, right of course. Yeah.
Yeah, because Newcastle fans are not bigging up Manchester City. Let's get that right now.
Yeah, true.
And
I actually want Bruno Guimaraes instead of Bellingham, instead of Jude.
That's what I've been saying.
Guys, why do you guys? They keep throwing Hamza. You know this. Don Smoke keeps, and the funny thing is,
that's not good.
Don Smoke and Carl, they're not on camera. And I know they're smiling every time they bring up Jude.
Vader, these two are banned from talking about Jude Bellingham now. That's it. Don, you as well.
Oh my gosh.
They are banned.
All right, let me do this real quick. This is amazing. Thanks, guys.
Vader game.
Now, like we do, standings, game review, upcoming week predictions. We talk about key targets. And then there's also important counterintelligence. And part of the counterintelligence is if you guys are hearing some wild, out of whack statements with regards to City, whether it's player, manager, please drop those out in the comments. We're going to deal with some of those counterintelligence either live or if it requires us to do some research, I'm address it. We will address it on future shows. So feel free to drop any crazy agenda points that you are continually hearing on other shows or in the media, let us know. But the next team with regards to the standings is Tottenham. And I love the flow of the show right now. We're at 55 minutes. It's flowing excellently. Thank you all so much with regards to the panels. And again, all of their details are in the description of this video and all future videos. I make it a point to just automatically, the way it populates, if you want to find them, you can find them within the description of this channel. Let me put this comment up real quick. Sir Alan throwing another grenade. He just says, Jude. I'm going to leave that alone. Emmanuel, my man, goes, Manchester City have really raised the standards. And now we've got to keep up with the standards we've raised. That's, Emmanuel, that's a great point. And it's
very good point.
It's a very good point. And I also want to point this out, Emmanuel, that gets lost on some fans. I'm not saying all. I'm not saying necessarily ours. But the nature of sport, does not mean winning all the time. The nature of sport is competition. So things fluctuate. We'll have games where we're looking great, we're winning. We'll have games where we're kind of struggling, but at the base of it, the nature of it is not only the manager, it's the players trying to find the form for consistent success. So that happens like this, but the opportunity is as it's happening like this, it's even and it's growing. So when I hear, and I think I talked about this last week, when I hear fans that say, "Oh, I became, or I was I was a United fan and I'm accustomed to United winning." Okay. I hear Arsenal fans, "Oh, I'm an Arsenal fan and I'm accustomed to Arsenal and their invincibles or winning." I hear Liverpool fans say, all of these fans, yes, you've seen your club win, but not every club can continuously win. That's not what sport is. Sport is you want to see how your team competes. You want to see how your manager competes, how the players compete, and how the club and the board compete. All those matter. And it's ignorant. It's spoiled. It's baby thinking to think my team has won, and that's when I fell in love with them. So when they're not winning, I'm not happy. I'm dissatisfied. If that's your thinking, you don't understand sport. But I agree with you. We and City fans, we've seen such a high standard, and the high standard is that competitive standard, not necessarily winning. I hope that kind of makes sense. And sorry for my mini rant. But with regards to Tottenham, and let's put this on screen. Tottenham right now are fourth in the standings. They played 27 games, 15 wins, 3 draws, 9 losses, and their goal differential is 12. That's pretty low. They're 48 points within the standings right now. And let's go to what they did last week as well as this week. The game that they had most recently was yesterday against Nottingham Forest. We know Nottingham Forest aren't high in the standings. They got this 3-1 win. Was it a response? Was it a much needed response with regards to how they whimpered out of the Champions League with a 0-0 result when they needed to get, at the very least, a goal to tie up the aggregate score? But this is what I mentioned earlier when Martin mentioned Klopp and Liverpool having to go out and try to at least tie up or win this tie. And then we got Tottenham that looked to have no bite, no fire, no desire, no aggression to even try to come out of the Champions League. And they had a 0-0 at home against Milan. I think many of us, so I won't spend too much time on the Champions League, but I think many of us would have said we don't see Tottenham coming out of the Champions League, even though it was they were down 1 goal in the first leg.
I called it, right? I told you they won't qualify. I told you they weren't going to qualify. It's just a joke. It's a joke of a club. They're a joke.
You know what? Sorry.
I'm serious. Tottenham's highlight for the season is beating City at home. That's it. That's their highlight.
Facts.
It's true, but hear me out on this one. Hear me out on this one, and those of you in the comments. I think Tottenham are a joke of a club when it comes to winning on the pitch, but they're fascinating when it comes to their success off the pitch and their financials.
There's no fascination there, brother. Nothing. They owe £700 million. Let's be clear, right?
But is it not fascinating that they've grown their fan base? They've got this stadium, and they've done it without ever winning a thing.
They've won jack all.
Right? Yeah, isn't that fascinating though?
No, it's not fascinating. It's terrible. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I think
Levy is the same guy, right? With this guy called Gulati, who used to be the head of USSF. Is the same guy at UEFA who's driving this new FSR rule because he knows his wages are low. So he wants to take the advantage of that. It's a joke. This guy, Levy, is the same guy who went behind Khaldun's back and Khaldun was supposed to be one of the on the board of the ECA, right? Gerrymandered it so that he got on the board. They're a joke, man. The guy that won't pick up the phone call from Cheeky on Kane, they're a joke.
Oh, we dodged one. We dodged one though.
I told all of you a year ago, 2 years ago, that Kane was going to go to United. I'm telling you, that's where he's going to go. Because
but
Levy will never sell to France. He will never sell to City. It's not about money. It's about the principle behind it.
I'm with you on that. Sorry, Smoke, you said something I couldn't hear you.
Regarding Tottenham, right? at the end of the day, football is just, right? Football knows how to clean itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you go into football matches with bad intentions, football will sort you out, right? You can only get
Okay.
away with it for so long, right? And the thing is, there's a reason why the last time Conte won a knockout game in the Champions League was 2013.
Yikes.
It's
That's a long time.
10 years. It's 10 years since he's won a knockout game in the Champions League. Because so I don't have much to say. I'm just happy they're out, man, because it's a boring watch. It's
They are boring. I mean, if you're having trouble sleeping, yeah, I mean, they're good.
Especially when Bentancur doesn't play, because I always believe that he's their best player. Even when they beat us because he was back.
Yeah, he's talented. Yeah.
But Bentancur, that's another midfielder who I actually rate. He plays well. He knows how to play the ball, take it out from the back and move it forward. And the moment he got injured, I knew they're not going to do anything serious, because Hobie and Skip, what are they going to do? They're just going to sit.
Yeah.
They won't do anything.
Last year I had two teams. Tottenham and Chelsea. If I had struggled sleeping, I had too much on my mind, I would just watch that game and I'd be out in like 15 minutes. I'd be knocked out, ready to go to sleep.
I'm talking 50 minutes.
this year, I only have Tottenham, and on another show, and maybe in a different angle, and maybe my use of fascinating is poorly used here, but Tottenham, with regards to a model with no trophy success, with no winning success, hopeful, wishful, promising, but never really coming through, is I find it fascinating. It's almost like Levy doing what he did with Tottenham and what the Glazers did without investing their own money. Like it's kind of like sleight of hand. It's
They're professional losers, literally. You know, when you talk about participation trophies, that's Tottenham, professional losers.
How do you lose an FA Cup game to what was League Two? Martin? What was the name of the club they played against in the FA Cup last 2 weeks?
Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, Sheffield are pretty good. Let's be fair. They're good in the championship, right? Are they championship?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
They're quite good.
Yeah, they're currently second.
Yeah, they're quite good. But still, you need a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
You need a trophy. Carabao's gone. The Premier League's probably is gone.
But that isn't what Daniel Levy wants. Daniel Levy only cares about top four. That's Tottenham's biggest problem. Daniel Levy only cares about top four because he wants the money from the top four.
I hope he
doesn't care about trophies. He wants the top four. He always has wanted the top four. I said this about Conte at the very start of the season. Conte and Tottenham did not match. It was a mismatch from the get-go. Because Conte needs a bucket load of money to do what he wants to do, and he was never going to get that at Tottenham Hotspur. Never ever going to get it, because you know Tottenham have got a multi-billionaire behind them, who in Joe Lewis, who just did not want to. He wants to get rid of the club. He's never really wanted to put money into the club. Never really wanted to. Could quite easily go out and spend money left, right, and centre, but he just chose to never do it. He's never, ever wanted to do it. That's what's really annoyed Tottenham fans a lot. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about getting in the top four. Trophies to Daniel Levy, as long as they get top four, they're happy with that.
Okay.
Because it generates sponsors, it generates everything they got. It's why they have the nice stadium and everything else. It's all catered to bring in revenue.
Yes.
It's just the bottom line with Tottenham. Now, Tottenham are a funny club, because one day they can be great, the next day they're dog awful.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real weird situation with Tottenham. And if I was a Tottenham fan, I'd be pulling my hair out, because you just can't decide. Because the annoying thing is, it's like Harry Kane. I rate Harry Kane as a player. He's just got no ambition. He decided to play this loyalty card, very much like Steven Gerrard played it.
Sorry, I gotta go back to you. Hold on, Martin. You said you rate him as a player, but he's got no ambition. Sorry, what is it that you rate of him, player-wise? Like his ability?
Well, you look at his goal scoring record, right? It's second to none.
Okay.
It's up there. It's up there. He won like Golden Boot after Golden Boot in the Premier League. The guy has done a Steven Gerrard. He wanted to try and win his trophies at his club. It hasn't worked out, and now he's going to have a decision to make in the summer. And if he goes to United, you know what? He'll probably make them better. Well, I know he will make them better if they get Harry Kane.
So Sir Alan agrees with you. He goes, Martin is right. Levy is only interested in top four. I would say this with regards to this rumored and potential with Harry Kane going to United. If Harry Kane's choice is to go to United as a North American consumer of sport, whatever he wins there, it's not going to get any ratings. You're going to United. Like, you're this whole come up, build grassroots, tough fight. If you go to United, which really only have a few missing pieces, I don't think that really legitimizes what he does trophy wise. Because it's like who went over. Look at Van Persie going over from Arsenal to United. Well, what do you expect? United were 1 year off from winning, and then you go there and you're another missing piece.
At least he has a trophy, right? That's the thing. I mean,
yeah, but does he really get props for that trophy though?
Yeah, but you got to look at it, mate. Look at Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer has come out and said it was great going to Newcastle. Alan Shearer could have gone to United. It was all on a plate for Alan Shearer to walk to United and win leagues and win Champions Leagues. And he wanted to go and play for his beloved Newcastle. And he even said himself, I look back now and I think, should I have took the United move? You know, he does have that tinge of regret on him that he should have done it.
No, I hear that.
Yeah,
now, I just think, go ahead, Don.
The thing is, right, even if you go to United, there's no guarantee they're going to win the league or the Champions League.
You're right.
So if you're going to leave Tottenham, go for a sure thing. Because you're at the end of your career, you've scored a whole lot of goals that don't mean nothing besides the record that you've broken. But at the end of the day, to me as a striker, your goals have to equate to something, right? Like, it's pointless scoring Haaland scoring 50 goals and we don't win the Premier League or the Champions League.
I had a nightmare of that. Yeah.
Then it's more like, okay, we were winning the league, right, without a striker. We got a striker, and then we don't win both. So it's like, okay, how effective are you to the team? What do they translate to? It's like you're a goalkeeper, you make all these penalty saves, but you still lose a penalty shootout. It's like, at the end of the day, right, they have to translate to trophies. Because at the end of the day, when you look back, it's the trophies that you know, I don't think it's often when a player comes down like, no, I scored 200 goals, right? And that's all you talk about, but you got nothing to show your kids. No, like, go into the trophy room, show them like, okay, there's this trophy, this medal I won this year. It was a very tight title race, and we managed to get over it. What will you tell your grandkids? No title races you're involved in. No, like, let's be honest.
It's a terrible move because now he's chasing a trophy. Right, I think like this stage with when he would be moving because of also.
What is he chasing now, Beta? What is he chasing?
No, well, he was supposed to be chasing trophies while he was at Tottenham, but no, I just mean now it's kind of like, and we've seen it. You know, Carl, you've seen it with regards to NBA. Like, players now they're kind of like on the other side of the hill with regards to their career, and now they're just going to get that trophy, that championship because it failed them.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about Harry Kane. I couldn't care less about him.
Yeah. We spent way too much time on Tottenham, but I agree.
I mean, if he wants to win stuff, he better leave Tottenham. Go to Bayern Munich. Seriously.
I agree. Now, let me do this.
Vader game.
I want to shout out Martin because I know he's got a drop and he's got a show that's kicking off in about 5 minutes or so. The Man Community Way. Again, the details of his channel are in the description. So please make sure to click on that and follow him over there. As soon as the show goes, and I'm being very cognizant of time, I'm going to go join him over there as well. Martin, anything you want to say with regards to the topics tonight or what you're covering?
No, just RB Leipzig preview, and we'll discuss all about it. And we're not going to talk Jude Bellingham because until that's done, we'll talk about that after it's done.
Okay.
Now Martin, I was gonna come through, but mate, I've got to get up for work, so I'm gonna go.
No, don't worry.
Apologies, mate.
There's no point in going down the Jude road because it'll happen when it's happening. So we'll
There's
wait.
something you're not telling us. Yeah, there is. There's something you're not telling us.
He's saying he's
I
going to
think
wait
he's
until it
found something
happens. And again,
It's all RB Leipzig.
It's RB Leipzig. All right.
Wait, Martin, is this to do with transfers? Did I hear Bruno Gomes?
Give me a Bruno every day, man.
Guys, you're going to have to tune into his show. You're going to have to tune into Martin's
No,
show.
that's just we can all throw names out, but the club have the targets. So that's the way it is. The club have the targets.
Yeah.
So we can all sit in and throw names out.
Well played.
I mean, if Drew comes to me, I'm still gonna back him, man. Whoever comes to my club, I'm backing them all the way.
Of course. All right, Martin. Thanks so much. Whenever
Cheers,
you
mate.
drop.
Take care.
All right.
You got Martin, man.
Now,
Cheers, Martin.
second in the standings, or no, third in the standings. What am I saying? Third in the standings, we got Manchester United. 26 games played, 15 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses. They're currently with 50 points, 11 points shy of second, which happened to be us. It wasn't too long ago they were talking about being in a title race or possibly surpassing City, but they're 11 points behind us. When we click on them and we look at what they had to do this past week, we see that just today they played against Southampton. On the 9th, which was Thursday, they played against Real Betis. And as we've talked about before with regards to Liverpool, they took a huge Mike Tyson punch in the face from Liverpool with a 7-0 loss. Their most embarrassing loss in Premier history. But we're going to focus on their Champions League first and foremost. Sorry, I said Champions League. See, out of habit, this is bad. This is the levels that United are at. And again, we need to all be sharper with the present day. Present day, they're in Europa. All right. Real Betis, they had a result of a 4-1 versus them first leg. Anyone on the panel, I'm not too sure who to necessarily throw this to, so just feel free to chime in. Did you guys happen to watch this game? What kind of expectations do you have?
I watched parts of it.
Okay.
The reality is that a lot of teams are very poor. It's just the bottom line. Let's be clear. It's just very poor. You know, United they reacted to the poor performance that they had earlier in the season. So earlier last week. So the game's over. They're not going to. Betis are not coming back from losing 4-1. Not scoring 4 goals, so that tie is done. What will be interesting is if Arsenal get through and the United get through and they draw themselves in the next round, or the round after, semi-finals, and then Arsenal have to play United twice and play City, Liverpool, Newcastle, all in the same day.
That would be interesting, and it wouldn't be out of the norm with regards to them maybe facing each other in the next round because it would be the round of 8, right? I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch this game. Smoke, I don't
blame you. Like the only real teams in La Liga is Real Madrid and Real Sociedad.
Speak on it.
Right? Those are the real teams. Betis and plus they didn't even have the star player Nabil Fekir. When I heard Fekir is not playing, I was like, this is gonna be a pointless watch. They're just gonna go there and flatter to deceive. And today's game against Southampton just reminded you of where they are. And funny enough, like prior 2 weeks ago, they were in a title race, right? And prior to that, they were sneaking victories because if you watch them, they weren't beating teams convincingly. They were scraping wins, and eventually it catches up. It catches up with you, and then especially when teams are hungry now, because Southampton, it's a do or die, right? Like they're playing for their lives. So, and similar to like a Liverpool, United against a low block, they're not good. Even Rashford needs space. he wants to run behind something.
Great
But
point.
there's nothing
Great
to run
point.
behind. Is literally ineffective, right? And it's gonna be like this. I see them dropping more points, right? And they'll only play better against teams that give them space, which it's gonna be hard to find, man. So I'm not
Yeah.
shocked. Ten Hag has been humbled, right? Many managers think you can just come here because you win your whatever league back to back, and you can just go and do whatever wherever, especially away grounds, the big game. Saying
Yeah.
and it's just another ground with a referee and three linesmen. Yeah, yes, another ground where you can catch seven, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for United, it's more like you got mugged. They stole your shoes. You went to the police station. You filed a report. You get a call from the police station saying that we found your shoes, and then when they call you in, only to realize that it's similar to yours, but it's not your shoe size.
Yeah. So you came in expecting closure, but it wasn't quite there.
And that's today. There's no bounce back. Like it's a draw at
I
home.
at home to Southampton, which
Exactly.
is not a great response. I do want to point out that, and maybe you disagree, Gundo, or you agree, but I think there was really no other type of response for Real Betis after what Liverpool did. And unfortunately, the Real was the next game because Ten Hag would have had to put the fear of God in those players to have a proper response for taking 7, which is the most embarrassing loss they've ever taken. And they got the 4-1, but then you clearly see that this league is going to test you every week because he got his Europa 4-1 win, but then he comes back to the league and they draw 0-0.
Yep. They did. And the reason why there are 2 games that they've dropped points in, and is directly responsible to Casemiro directly.
Okay.
Think about Crystal Palace, the red card, the stupid red card he gave away where he didn't have to, right? Or he got a red. I think he got a red. Was he?
For choking, that's when
he got a yellow and he missed the next game. Yeah, he got a yellow and he missed the Arsenal game.
Yes.
Right. He was already on one more yellow, and I think it was right. And then they scored a goal. They took him off, I think. And then this one here, where he gets a red, where he gets a red, and now he misses 4 games. 4 games. Both games drop points. So if the best CDM in the whole world cannot control himself and get himself out of trouble, then is he really all that?
Yeah, for that mere fact, like he can't properly execute tackles to not warrant dangerous or reckless tackles going from yellow to a red. He can't control his emotions with regards to sidelines, and I don't care how many of you want to put stills or put different angles. If a man puts his hands towards a player's throat, you can guess and assess, oh, maybe it's gentle, maybe there's no pressure there. But that is not proper conduct on a pitch. He deserved that red. And no best player of anything that can't control their emotions are going to be labeled as the best. And he's shown that. Go ahead, Don.
This shows you how underrated Fernandinho was, because he mastered the duck out. Right, he could do all this without getting booked. Whereby Casemiro was just getting away with things in La Liga, because in La Liga there's so many times he deserved red cards, and because he's playing for Madrid, the refs wouldn't dare to do it.
Yeah.
But here it's like, okay, you're just another player, and you can see you're getting exposed. And at the end of the day, man, it's easy to rate a player when they've played a few games in a league. Right. Let's watch them through the whole season.
Exactly. And not only are we watching these players throughout the entire season, right? But the same thing goes with regards to Ten Hag. And I know Gundo agrees with me. I'm sure you do as well, Smoke. There's no first 3 months. There's no first half of the season in terms of declaring that this manager is about it and they're definitely going to have success. We saw Tuchel do his thing, and he got exposed after 1 year within the league. This genius talk applied to Ten Hag. It does my head in sometimes because I'm like, and again, United fans, I don't expect anything other than that. But you guys are moving too crazy to label him as a genius, especially when he keeps getting gut checked and chin checked throughout the season with some of these results because he's taken some beatings. 6-3 to us.
Manager of the month.
Manager, yeah. Oh my, yeah. So I want to point out that they got their result against in Europa. They then came back with a draw with regards to the league. Their next match is in the Europa, and again, like Carl said, the second leg, this tie, it's pretty much written. We can't expect Real Betis to really do get 4 goals against them to carry on. We see that there's a postponement for their match against Brighton. And then there's their FA Cup quarterfinals against Fulham on March 19th, and then they go on international break. Just real quick, win, lose, or draw, Carl. What do you see United, Fulham, FA Cup?
I mean, they should win at home, right? Is that home? Or is it away?
It is at home for them. Yeah, it's at home for them.
They should win. They should win. I mean, if they don't win that game, then they should win.
Yeah, they should win. They've been talking about they're competing in all competitions, and this is Fulham.
It won't be easy. Palina's back, right? So it's not going to be an easy game.
It's not going to be an easy game, and Casemiro's out too.
Yeah. So without Casemiro,
four game ban, right?
So what are the 4 games he's going to miss?
And Palina playing, it's not going to be an easy. It could go either way.
Smoke. What are the 4 games that he's going to miss? So Mrs. Fulham.
It's Fulham, Newcastle, Brentford, and Everton.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and those games are going to come quick and fast too because
actually Brentford will be a hard one because they were going to need Casemiro's physicality against Brentford.
Yeah. So they're playing away at Newcastle, April 2nd. Expect a low block or very defensively sound. Brentford, they're probably going to get them on the counter, and they're going to be very
far away. Remember that was Ten Hag's first
right.
defeat, so they'll want to come and repeat it. Especially with Casemiro, because it's basically the same team which they beat 4-0 without Casemiro.
Yeah. So it's April 2nd, Newcastle, April 5th, only 3 days later against Brentford, and then 3 days later again at home against Everton. So there's going to be a lot of matches, very fast. So I'm going to say with regards to Fulham, I expect them to win that FA Cup game against Fulham. But it's going to be an interesting game, even though they're not going to. They should be beating Fulham. Fulham just took 3 from Arsenal, so I would expect United to win. Let me do this comment. Sorry, I got a little behind. Sir Allen goes, he wanted to leave and Levy wouldn't let him. With regards to Harry Kane. Yep, I remember that. There's no guarantee United will win. He's better to go abroad. And good point, but I think he has
a better chance going to Ajax. Go to Ajax, like it's a better chance than United. Ajax will win the league.
There's many clubs that are going to be looking for a striker. I know there's a little hesitation now with PSG, but that's a destination. And who knows?
Levy won't sell to the Qataris, man.
Good point. Good point.
He's not going to sell to any Middle Eastern owners, man. Just make peace.
He won't sell to any of them.
Yeah. Good observation.
Even Newcastle is off the books.
Yeah.
Very, very intelligent points being shared. Bebop goes, or Bebobo Beep goes, how can Rashford point to his head, but the captain can't stop getting reds? Hey, I can't say Casemiro plays sound and plays with a high level of, no disrespect, but intelligence in the moment. I think a lot of it he does instinctively, and what he was able to get away with, like Don's spokes point in La Liga, is not happening here.
Do you remember at United Old Trafford the tackle when he almost kicked Grealish? Remember that double?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. And we were
He
all
does
cussing
all
it
the
out.
time.
Yeah.
Champions League last year, he did it at
Yes,
Bernabeu.
he got away with things as well. Yes.
He got away with not even getting carded for like a crazy spell. And we all know when a player gets a yellow, then they have to be a little more conservative, and he allowed to be a lot more reckless throughout that game. Yeah, I don't want to remember that. But
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Very true. Very
And
true.
we know
Now,
they know what they're doing.
we know exactly. We know exactly. I'm aware of time. We've got a great flow. We've got 2 more standings to really deal with before, and then like Martin, who had to drop off, he's got his show popping off right now. But I'm going to deal with this. Citeh Intelligent Agendas, and I got my 2 CIAs, Don Smoke, Professor Gundogan. Earlier we had True City Fan, and we had Hamza, and as well as Martin. But here we discuss intelligent agendas, not lazy ones, not outdated ones, not things that are stale that you've heard from the whatever team that talks about, oh, where's your trophies, where's your Champions League, or oil money. No. That's low level. That's low level agendas. These are intelligent ones where we actually come with some science and come with some facts, and we come with some assessment. We're now dealing with Manchester City, second in the league, 27 games played, 19 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses. All right. 42 is the goal differential. Incredible. Leading the league, goal differential, 42. And now with regards to points, 61 points, 5 behind the leaders with our Arsenal. But we're going to click on Manchester City right here, and we're going to look at the last few games played. Okay. The last game played most recently, we all know this, yesterday was against Crystal Palace. Huge game. We're going to discuss that. But just a week earlier, and I'm not going to revisit it because we did talk about it last week because the game took place on Saturday, but we got the result against Newcastle, 2-0. And what I ended up doing on my show, Why Always Me, I believe it was episode 73, I did a breakdown. I did a breakdown with regards to Pep control ball. All right. Pep control ball is something that, we've all had to like take a step back and look to see what's the plan. What is Pep really looking to execute? We've seen that from a quote unquote traditional back 4 and what he used to do with inverting his fullbacks to now at times actually playing with 3 defensive players and doing what is a 3-2-2-3, right? Or some would say 3-box-3. But we've all seen that type of evolution, that type of change within the team. But more importantly, I think it's all with a long-term vision from Pep. It's all with I need to have numerical superiority. I need to continue to have my possession control. And I also need to know that many opponents are either going to concede possession and let me have it. And as a result of that, they're also going to be like, whoa, we're going to bunker down. We're going to have our defensive blocks. We're going to make sure that we protect our 18. Pep looking at that long-term, being able to execute it now, whether it's the personnel, whether it's just the improvements with regards to the players' understanding, or it's the acquisition of certain key players. And we all know the key names, Holland, Alvarez, Phillips. When we look at things of that nature, we see that he is looking at how do I break down what was most likely going to be the consistent way to defend against me. And I pointed this out on the show with regards to not only Jack, but Foden and Holland and Gundogan in particular, as well as KDB and Foden. Sorry if I didn't mention them. But where they're getting, the spots that they're getting into, right? And the options that are then made available if players want to peel off and get passes, or the attention that they're now getting from defenders. If you missed that show, please go check it out. But I want to point this out with regards to not only Newcastle, but now with regards to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace did not come out to play. It was not a toe-to-toe game, right? Patrick Vieira always makes it difficult for us. I know maybe it's lazy. They get labeled as one of our bogey teams because they were able to get a draw and a win against us last season. But this season's Pep. And what I love about Pep, as well as the City players, is they improve year over year. They're not going to let the same hangups, the same errors really hinder them the next coming year. Crystal Palace, we knew was going to be a challenge. I'm going to throw this to you, Don Smoke. The 1-0 was the end of game result. We got the 3 points. But what was on this thumbnail was how you play matters. How you play games matter. Can you speak on that with regards to this result? Because some are really quick to say all that matters is the result. Can you maybe feed into why how you play and how you get the result matters when it comes to Crystal Palace?
Yeah, you know what's funny enough, right? From a media point of view, right? Arsenal had the best start to a Premier League season, right?
Yeah.
And we caught up with them. If that was City, trust me, you're gonna hear articles, headlines saying, "Oh, is this the end of the era that Ten Hag spoke about?" After having all this start, look how they still in a title race and whatnot. The beauty is this, right? Most people criticize Pep saying he only has one plan A. No, plan B is Haaland and Alvarez, and you saw it yesterday. And Pep mentioned it when he realized that these people are gonna. He said after 30 minutes, I knew that second half, Alvarez has to come in to help Haaland, and we didn't have those options last season. You know,
Right.
funny enough, people don't understand that this is a transitional season that we're having right now. Because, and I keep telling people, we're still adapting to playing with Haaland, right?
Yeah.
And Pep, that's hence there's still this tinkering happening and whatnot. And with all of this happening, we still there for the Premier League, right? We've considered the same amount of goals as the best defensive team, or the team with the best centre back pairing, which is Arsenal, and
Yeah.
and we've scored the most amount of goals, right?
Yeah.
And we've had 3 consecutive clean sheets in a row now, right?
Mm.
And we've been there, right? We playing well, we conceding less chances, man. Just that our players are humans. They've been missing chances because even in the Palace game, we could have been 2-0 up first half. If Greece scores his chance and Haaland also
Yeah.
puts his chance in the back of the net, it's a different game,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like we're playing bad because we're not scoring every chance. It seems as if we're
Hmm.
struggling,
Right.
whereby the other team just comes to. If you saw yesterday, Palace made peace that you know what, we will take a point.
Yeah. I hate that realization with regards to games where you're watching this and you're like, just the way they're being instructed, or sometimes you see when they make their subs and you're like,
They were
yeah,
defending with a
this
back six. Literally, they had
yes.
six players. They had 6 players
Yeah.
behind, and so no, I'm happy because we clicking into gear now. Because I remember there were parts of the seasons whereby we were although we still moved the ball a bit slow, which I think in
Hmm.
the second half, because I feel as if Bernardo had a poor game, right? Bernardo didn't really
Yeah,
play well,
that's fair.
right? He didn't help move the ball quick because we couldn't move the ball. And normally, if you look at our back line, right, especially when you have Akanji and Ake, you're not going to move the ball as quick from the
Yeah.
back,
Hmm.
right? So although we did, and when you move the ball slow, it allows the defense to reshuffle and go back into
Going
the
before him.
into,
Yeah.
into
In their
their
shape.
block. So, but I feel as if we're really getting into gear. Like the signs are getting better. Foden is back, right? So, and you saw with the movements that he's taking people on the right. Grealish, okay. Grealish is taking initiative now a lot. For the
Hmm.
past, I'd say 2 months. The only thing that's missing is just putting the ball in the back of the net, which I think
Yeah.
over time it'll come there. And we didn't need the brain. That was a very good sign that we didn't need the brain KDB yesterday, right? So we allowed him to rest so we can go for the Champions League game on Tuesday. So
Yeah.
all in all, man, I'll take the 3 points and move on. Like 3 points. At the end of the day, it's all about getting 3 points. Although you want to perform and whatnot, you want 3 points as well.
And yeah, and I want to throw this to you, Gundo, because same kind of like theme, same kind of perspective. Yes, we got the 3 points, but can you speak about how we played and whether you have a critique, whether you have something that you're like, I see a positive, whether you have something that you still want to see improved on? Let's talk about the play.
For me,
Yeah.
yeah. So my greatest frustration with that game was the speed of the game.
Okay.
I thought we were just too slow, and I know why we were a little slow is because we're playing with certain players who were not good at building out. We are playing with Diaz and Akanji. While they give us defensive solidity for the most part, their build-up is very, very slow.
Now, can I ask you, when you say slow, do you mean vertically, like coming from
So
our?
for example, Akanji, watch him very clearly as well. Akanji needs to take 2 touches of the ball before he makes a pass.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah.
Right? He needs to take 2 touches before he makes a pass. And we make 2 touches, the window's closed. Your options are limited, right? The way to beat the low block, in my opinion, is you have that 1 touch passing, you break the you break the lines, you have big switches of play, right?
Yeah.
He's not confident enough to do that. Now Stones is, but Stones was playing right back, and so well maybe right back, and he invented.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Right?
Yep.
And he wasn't 100% fit. So when I saw Akanji there, and Akanji's great, don't get me wrong, he has had his great moments. But for 15 million pounds, yeah, he's okay, he's cool, right? But against a low block, you need that speed, that build-up play has to be quicker. We have to be sharper on the ball, quick on the ball. Laporte, Stones are our best at the build-up play. But Diaz is wonderful defensively because he's the one who marshals that defense. And then Grealish, I need more goals from him. I don't have an agenda against Grealish. I just need more goals. That's it. That chance that he misses in the first half, you're right there, buddy. What are you doing?
Yeah, and yeah, to add to that, again, we've constantly pointed out what we want more from player to player, and I agree with you with regards to Grealish. Not only now am I very happy with when he recognizes he's being defended with one player, or when he realizes he has the angle to then come across pitch. When it's on that right foot, the ball the shot has to go on target. That's the level of my criticism now with regards to Grealish. Before, he wasn't taking those shots. He was getting into those dangerous areas and maybe peeling it off or recycling. Now, when he's in there, yes, you're taking those shots. Grealish, calm down. Whether it's taking a deep breath, whether it's slowing down the anxiety or the stress, just try to find a calmness and get that shot on target. Make the keeper have to make a save. Could be a rebound, could result in a corner, but just kicking it wide, whether it's wide left, wide right, he's got to put a stop to that. And I'm in full agreement with that. When I go to FIFA goes, Walker starts easy. With regards to Walker, did Pep do some disciplinary? Was it a disciplinary choice why you didn't have Walker start? Because Walker did come onto the pitch later. I'm not too sure, but the overall game, the result against Crystal, was exactly what we needed. I love how we were attacking, especially realizing that they weren't looking to attack, and they didn't even register a shot on target. And if they really took a shot, I think they took a shot late in the first half, and again, really late when they decided to play after we scored in that second half. But we moved 3 points, and we got the proper result. Now, when we look at what's happening moving forward, we've got Champions League March 14th. That will be the second leg. 1-1 is the aggregate.
That's the biggest game of the season right now for us. Huge game. And Gundo, Pep made mention that the three games are huge deciders for our season before we played against Crystal. Crystal was a Premier League game. RB Leipzig is going to be Champions League. And then the third game that he mentioned that's huge will be the FA Cup game against Burnley. But March 14th, RB Leipzig at home. There's going to be Champions League previews, so we're not going to get into that necessarily. But we know it's 1-1. It's no different than even if we had a one game, maybe a 1-goal lead or whatever. You still have to come out of that game with a win. We're at home. Real quick, Don, Gundo, a win is expected for this Champions League game. As much as we respect RB Leipzig, are both of you saying a win? Oh, it has to be a win. There's no choice.
It's a knockout. It's literally a once-off knockout.
Yeah, and I expect goals.
Absolutely.
Smoke. I expect goals in this game. A lot of goals.
A lot of goals for both teams, or a lot of goals with us slapping them?
Both teams. Like
okay.
4-2, 5-3 kind of situation.
We just have to beat them by one. At the end of the day, the plan of going there was make sure that we're still in the game, and you done that well. Kept us in the tie, and then here we're gonna play them at home with our home fans, and it's then it's that thing of whereby we don't have to think about the second leg. Because if you go to Germany, try to play, and then you concede, it's 2-1, 3-1, then now it becomes, it's like a Liverpool whereby you have to make sure you get 2 or 3 more than the opponents. No.
Yeah.
Have them face them in a once off and beat them, and then you move.
I'm in full agreement. And here's where you also see, like, year over year, players evolving, manager also realizing how to best manage the players. We went into that game controlling it. It's a two legs are involved in this. We're not leaving RB Leipzig with a loss. At the very least, we're going to come home and handle business, which you would have had to do anyways. And I love how it was managed. Yes, knockout, we have to go and get the result 100%. We play Tuesday, March 14th, RB Leipzig. And then 4 days later, we play in the FA Cup, which is going to be against EsteemedKompany, manager for Burnley. That's a huge game at home again before the international break. So that happens on a Saturday. So it's going to happen before we have our next show. And I want to ask you, both of you, we obviously said knockout win against RB Leipzig, chalk it up. It's a win. Not asking for a score. Abib goes, I need Champions League like I need oxygen. So he's all in. He wants this Champions League, and we need this result. After getting the result, we then go back home, or we're our home. We stay home, and we got Burnley for Saturday against. And that's what time is that? Oh, that's 1:45 my time. But we play that FA Cup. What are you guys saying? Again, we knockout, we win against Burnley.
Have to win it. There's no excuse.
Okay, I'm with you. Just asking.
I mean,
Don Smoke, Gundo predicting a win for Champions League as well as FA Cup, and there's going to be preview shows. Trust me, guys. Maybe not on my channel, but True City Fan, Pitch Points, or the main.
Tomorrow we have Champions League preview. There you go. For I'm going to do a UCL preview for not just for us, but for Liverpool,
for the remaining teams.
For the remaining teams. So join us if you can at 9 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you are available for that one,
I will definitely be there at 5 p.m. That I can make that. And again, details are in the description of this channel. So last but not least, they're still at the top of the league. We've got Arsenal. I'll be honest with you, some of the talk has been kind of lazy with regards to Arsenal. We, City fans, we don't have any hatred for Arsenal. We haven't even been paying attention to them or watching them for the last how many years? No disrespect, Arsenal. Well, we respect you with regards to being competitors in what you're doing this season. But there's no hatred. There's no animosity. There's no bad blood.
Who says
the many Arsenal fans are they're throwing out like we're fearful or we hate them.
What's happening is they're projecting. That's what they're doing. And people do this a lot, right? They project when they project what they feel on others, and they think it's true. Nobody hates you, man. We don't. We sold you 2 players, man. How can we hate you?
Thank you.
Right? We gave you a manager who was under our coach. How can we hate you? If you win it, you win it. Kudos to you. Don't bring this hate nonsense because listen to Arsenal fans. Listen, if you win it, you win it, right? Let's be clear, right? You haven't come to the Etihad. You haven't gone to Anfield. You haven't gone to Newcastle. You have to have Chelsea to play. So that's 12 points right there.
Yep.
Now, City have the ability to win all their games. Let's be clear. We've done it before. Not once, not twice. Ask Liverpool.
Yep.
They'll tell you stories. 3 times. Okay? Right? So, and our games are all at the Etihad, all our big games. Right? Liverpool and Chelsea are all at the Etihad. You have to come to us. You have to go to Anfield, and you have Chelsea at home, and you have to go to Newcastle.
Yes.
Oh, you have to play Wolves on the last day. Who are fighting relegation. So,
there's a lot of games left. Yeah, Don.
Just chill.
I remember the season which Leicester won the league, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea made sure Tottenham didn't win that league.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember. Yes. People don't understand how petty Chelsea are, right? They will make sure that you don't get to sing after 19, 20 years. And if they know they have the power to do that, trust me. That's what I'm saying. Like, the thing is,
there's so much.
Really started.
It hasn't, and they think it's shade when you tell them it hasn't. When they think you're just dismissing them when you're like, no, there's still a lot of games left to be played. Like they think
Wait,
you're
the thing is this: you think Klopp will allow Arteta to have the same number of league titles as him when they have to go to Anfield?
Hell no.
You think
Hey,
so?
that's a combo. That is a real combo.
Then I'm
And
saying like, and he knows he has the power to do so, and he's just gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
Come on.
now let me do this proper. Let me do this proper. Arsenal, top of the league, 27 games played. They have 21 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. Okay, they have 37 goal differential, not as good as us. They do match us with regards to goals against at 25, but point wise, and now there's no more games in hand between the two of us. But point wise, they are at 66 points. We are at 61 points, so 5 points difference. What they happened to do over the course of the week was just today they got their 3-0 win against Fulham. And again, I think myself, many of us, I think many of us CIAs, we already chalk up Arsenal to get their 3 points. We're not looking for any favors at this point. We're not looking for any favors with regards to who they're playing. Like, okay, that should be a win. That should be a registered win. But before getting their 3 wins against Fulham, they played Sporting in Europa, and that was a 2-2 draw. That was a 2-2 draw. And last week against Bournemouth, I think we've all heard about this, but they had their comeback against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth is not one of the stronger teams, but they had their late comeback in the 97th minute to win that game 3-2. Many signs looked like it was going to be a loss, looked like it was going to be a draw, but they got out the win. After that, or after the result against Bournemouth, as well as Sporting, many were talking about Arsenal leaking goals, or Arsenal not being as sound defensively and maybe questioning them. They come and respond with a 3-0 win against Fulham. Power to them. They got that result. I'm gonna throw this to you, Gundo, as well as Smoke. Did you guys think that there was going to be any different result than a win against Fulham this past weekend?
I mean, for me, I thought Fulham would be able to get something, but when I realized that Willian and Palladino weren't playing, I just gave up. I saw Tosin in the back line, I just gave up because I knew that nothing was going to
come. Full strength, you were like, okay, I could see something happen here, but once those
if
type
Willian
of
was
profile
playing,
players,
if was playing, if they didn't have Tosin back there. Tosin's terrible, right? Back there,
yeah.
Then okay, you think it's once it went there, it was done. The game was done. There's just nothing.
Okay.
Nothing to do. Yeah.
You know what's funny, Waiter, right? If you look at Arsenal's next 7 league features,
Next
fixtures,
7, okay,
7, right? It's majority of them. Okay, one is Palace, who don't have a win this whole season, right?
yeah,
They
they
don't have
play
a
Palace
win
on the
this whole season.
19th.
And
Yeah.
another thing is this: Vieira is the type of manager whereby he'll want to show that I have something of substance over Arteta, right? Because he's also an ex, right? Like they took him without even considering, right? So
They did.
he'll want to steal a point, and then the next relegation battle, you have Leeds, you have West Ham, you have Southampton, right?
Yeah.
All those guys need results. They don't need wins. They need a result. So
You're right. You're very right. You're very right. It's just a result that they need. It's not like they're battling out there and going out for the win.
So and in between them you have Liverpool, City, and Chelsea.
Yeah.
So it's
what?
like,
Let me speak to that real quick. Emmanuel goes, great point. I think this is when you mentioned this, Smoke, as well as Gundo. He goes, Jurgen Klopp would never allow Arteta to have the same number of EPL titles as him. That's a great point. There's pride pride cannot be dismissed and ignored. That is a thing amongst managers. Trust me. You heard how Klopp was talking and really putting Eric Ten Hag in his place when Ten Hag was talking about eras and things of that nature. Klopp was quick to kind of clap back in the press conferences. Yes.
One more quick point. Now for Graham Potter, what better way to win the Chelsea faithful than preventing Arsenal from?
See, Done, man. This is the beauty. This is the beauty about the agents that I have on this show, is because we think very similar. A lot of the things with regards to the idea around this show was the narratives that were going to come week after week, and you're you're in the future right now because they play Chelsea. They
After City.
play Chelsea after City. That's April 29th, and it's 3 days after, right? So they're going to play us on the 26th, and then 3 days after they're going to play against Chelsea. And again, to your point, the narratives, the storylines, the subplots, Potter. Shoot. Okay, so there's a lot to really discuss and break down and get into detail with regards to this. But I just want to point out with regards to Arsenal and the international break, because I want to be cognizant of the time. Arsenal play Sporting Europa on Thursday, March 16th, and then 3 days later they're going to play at Arsenal against Crystal Palace before the international break. So they're going to have Patrick Vieira, and you saw how sound defensively he was with us just recently. But he's going to be playing their Arsenal. Arteta and his squad are going to be playing them 3 days later at home against Crystal Palace. Sporting. I was surprised at the 2-2 draw. So obviously they have to go out and win that game. I've talked to a few Arsenal fans and they want it. They're not dismissing it. They're not saying it's just another blip. They want this Europa. So they're going to be playing most likely their best 11 to get that result versus Sporting. And what would you guys say with regards to Crystal Palace? You seeing a result there. They get a win, they get a draw. You see a fight, and they still get their win. What would you guys kind of say when they play next Sunday? Arsenal, Crystal Palace.
I don't know. It depends on what Palace shows up.
Okay,
it depends.
Okay.
I mean, Arsenal should win at their home. I mean, they should, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, the games. I don't care about Palace and who did they play this weekend? What I care about is the games that are coming up: City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yeah. The threats. You're talking about the threats. Yeah.
4 games I'm looking
Even
at.
Brighton. Even Brighton. Brighton won't be easy.
They play Brighton?
Yeah, they play
Chelsea,
Brighton May 13th.
Oh.
So it's Chelsea, it's City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton.
When is Liverpool?
Liverpool is after the Leeds game, the 9th.
Yeah.
It's on the 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is Liverpool?
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool. So is Liverpool? What order is it? Liverpool.
So it'll be Arsenal are going to play Leeds April 1st, Liverpool 9th, April 9th, West Ham April 16th, Southampton April 21st, and then they have City 5 days later on the 26th. 3 days later they got Chelsea, and then they're going to be playing Newcastle Newcastle on May 6th, Brighton May 13th, Nottingham Forest, and then Wolves on the 28th. Wolves
so
is the
add in,
last game.
so if they qualify in the Europa League, add in the next round of Europa League teams to this as well. Add them to the mix. Maybe United, maybe.
Yeah,
it's going to
be very interesting.
That's why I keep saying, 5 points. See, the 5 points thing takes one draw.
Yeah, one draw and we're back to the head-to-head game.
Yeah. Virtual makes a point. So all they need are if it happens to be 2 draws and a loss for you guys to close the gap. Yeah, it's that easy. I mean, it's there's 5 points between us. So
it's not even 2. It's just a draw and a loss, and then because we're beating them on goal difference. It's just one draw and a loss.
Yeah, exactly. The goal differential is still in our favor, 100%. I want to point out, and Andrew goes, Grealish needs to be decisive when he cuts in pass 1-2 or switch. He always takes an extra touch. Yeah, to that point. And to the extra touch that Gundo was talking about with Akanji, I do find it frustrating, especially when the ball goes to Akanji's right foot. When it comes to his right foot, I expect 1 touch, not 2. If it's his left, but I get really frustrated. I'm like, oh, why are you taking 2 touches on your dominant foot? But hopefully Akanji works on that with regards to his game. But those are some of the criticisms. I need to stress this. I'm going to put it back on screen. We've played 27 games. There's still 11 more to play. A lot is going to happen, and those are just with regards to league play. We're in Champions League. They're in Europa. We're in FA Cup. There's a lot of games to be played. And this week on Citeh Intelligent Agendas, I want to stress that we're not gonna throw out nonsense. We're actually gonna take some time, and we're gonna think about things and have proper conversations. To be able to have Don Smoke and Gundogan to close out this show is an absolute pleasure for me, and I hope everyone in the chat, all of you that watched or listened, enjoyed the content. And please, I hope to see you again next week. For Hamza, True City Fan Patrick, the man Cuneway Martin, who were in the show earlier today, I want to thank you guys. Again, hit me in the comments moving forward, even if you're watching this on a replay, put it in the comments. Any agendas that you want tackled, you want dealt with, because we're going to come through with the science, with the intelligence, and we're going to deal with it. One thing I want to point out, this Manchester United last season being the worst ever for them. If they're saying that because of the points that they accumulated, okay, I get it. But if they're saying it because they finished sixth, they've been doing that for a few years. So, United fans, was it your worst finish because of your points, because of the points gathered? Because it could not have been your finish, your standings, because you've been sixth for a few times in the Premier League and recently, with regards to when Pep or Mancini, as well as Pellegrini, since they've been in the league. So we got to address that real quick. Conway goes, and thank you for still being on the show, my guy. Conway goes, great show. Guys, enjoyed it. Emmanuel goes, great show. I want to thank you all. Like I said, please follow Don Smoke and Gundogan. Gundogan's got his show Pitch Points, details in the description. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing Why Always Me and this show once a week. And I owe you one more video, if I'm correct, because I said I'm dropping 7 videos in honor of the 7 Mike Tyson punch in the face that United had, and I owe you guys one more video, so I'm going to make sure I do that. Gundo, Don Smoke, anything you guys want to shout out before we close out?
No, it's been a great show. It's been a great evening, just relaxing. I'm working at the same time as I'm talking to you, so I'm in a good spirit.
Multitasking, yep.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm looking forward to Tuesday. I really am looking forward to it. I think that we get through Tuesday, I think things open up. Because think about it, apart from Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, we're one of the favorites.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know it's cliche and also the same point, but when Pep made the point of when we were playing, getting a result, or even when we were slightly out of form, when he at one of the press conferences said, "That's not my City team that I'm seeing on the pitch." It always resonated with me. As long as we're playing our style of ball, as long as we're playing, to his point, with courage, man, I know we can get the result. I know we can get the goals and get the accomplishments that we want for this club. So I'm happy for it. And yeah, Tuesday is going to be huge. So don't miss Pitch Points UCL preview tomorrow night, 9 UK time, 5 p.m. I'd say Toronto, but East Coast time. Yeah. And definitely check that out. I want to thank you guys all for being on the show, and I'm going to catch you guys next week. This is Vader Games TV, Citeh Intelligent Agendas, the 3rd show. We'll be back next week.
Okay.
We're out.
Jesus.